Hisuian Arcanine just won its 4th regional for the season, and the top 8 for the Toronto regionals had some wild teams. Alright guys, so to kick things off, over the weekend we had the 2024 Toronto Regional Championships that was won by none other than Chopper Cross. This event had a little over, 500 players here. You see here, 543 Masters players. Very big turnout. Pretty consistent with what we've been getting for most of the year. And we see here Chopper Cross wins it with this, I just want to say, like, it's Tornadus plus good stuff, right? You've got just 6 really good Pokemon on this team, but if you have a look at the rest of the top 8 here, you've got some absolutely wild teams. So look, we will dive into them all shortly. But you see here, we've got like a Roaring Moon team here with a Mugus. Like a Mugus is a mon that hasn't really been doing too much recently. So to see it get second place here is pretty cool. We have a Regidrago in the top 4 by Regav. Another fantastic performance by him once again. He's been absolutely just dominating this year. I feel like we're constantly seeing them in the top 4, top 8. That's really cool to see. Jamie Boyd doing what Jamie Boyd does best. He's got some crazy stuff here. We see Bobby here. He's got like a hybrid, Trick Room plus Tailwind team. Enzo here with another like Trick Room Tailwind team with a bit of Sice Man. Andrew here, he's pulled out another Blood Moon Ursaluna. We did kind of touch on a team like this as well the other day. I think last week or the week before we did a Blood Moon Ursaluna team. And we had the Chewy on it. Really cool combo there. And then Justin Tang had what was probably my favorite team of the event. A team I definitely plan on trying out in the coming days. I do have a friend of mine actually has a rental for it. So that is going to be really cool to, test this team out. But Justin did build this team, I believe, with Gavin Michaels, sorry, and then Tang Shilang here. So they all brought a Salamence Rain team, which is really cool. But of course, first guys, we've got to jump into the guy, Chopper Cross. Chopper, great guy. I've done a coaching session with him in the past. And it was awesome to see him win, particularly for me, because I actually was running almost the exact same team as this. Except I had Chewy in the Hisuian Arcanine slot. So to see him do so good with the team was fantastic. Now, I have actually, tested this team out myself. I've done my own spreads. I don't know exactly what his were, but I've done, to the best of my abilities, basically to recreate this team. I had a lot of fun with it. I think, I ran up one of my ults, about 1650 pretty quickly. So it was, yeah, really cool team. I really enjoyed it. But I kind of look at this team as just like Tornadus plus good stuff, right? So obviously, the center of this team here, you've got this Tornadus. It's got the Bleak Wind Storm, the Tailwind, the Rain Dance, and it's got Taunt. Its job is basically just to be a support that can put out quite a bit of damage if you kind of just ignore and let it sit there. Rocky Helmet in the current metagame is fantastic. A big thing with Rocky Helmet prior was the Ogre Pawns don't like proc Rocky Helmet with their Ivy Cudgels. But if we jump back here real quick and take a look, something I didn't touch on at the start here, you'll see no Ogre Pawn on Chopper's team, none on Pulchua's team, none on Regav's team. We see Jamie Boyd has one here, which by the way, Teal Mask variant. Bobby doesn't have one. Enzo doesn't have one. We have a Stone form here, and then Justin doesn't have one, which means Fire and Water Ogre Pawn, neither one of them top 8'd, which I think is absolutely insane, right? These two mons with absolute staples leading into this event. And for me, it's funny too, because again, like I said, I was running an almost identical team to Chopper's. And I believe I showed off one of my teams I used for locals recently where I had Fire Ogre Pawn on it, and I believe I said in the video, I'm not sure if I said in the video or if it was just to the boys, but I'm like, I kind of want to drop my Fire Ogre Pawn, but it feels so bad not having an Ogre Pawn on my team. And now all of a sudden, everyone's like doing really good with that Ogre Pawns. Like we see more here, none in 10, none in 11, Water in 12, none in 13, none in 14, none in 15. Dude, there is like 2 Fires in the top 16, 1 Water in the top 16. Absolutely insane. But anyway, going back to Chopper's team, right? So you got this, the Tornadus. It's the core of the team, right? It's got the Tailwind. This team loves having speed booster, right? You've got, a lot of, relatively fast ones, 2 insanely fast, and then, 3 pretty mid speed tiers. But obviously when you pair that with Tailwind, they're very good. And then obviously, to really pair with it, I guess, like Rain Dance Tornadus loves, but Urshifu also loves it, right? On this team, you've got the Mystic Water, you've got the Terra Water. This mon puts out so much damage in rain, it's absurd. There are a lot of mons that like resist this and still die to it. It's crazy. An absolutely fantastic combo there. But again, kind of the star of the show, and it's the one I kind of want to touch on because again, there's been 4 regionals this year. Sorry, this season series, for Regulation E. Hisuian Arcanine has won all of them. And even if you go back to here, you have a look here, there are what, 4 Hisuian Arcanines in the top 8. Dude, this mon, it's like crazy, right? Because like, I think a lot of people are like, oh yeah, Landorus is the best Intimidate mon, it's the best Choice Scarfer. There's 2 Landos in the top 8, there's 4 Hisuian Arcanines. And Banded Hisuian Arcanine, it just puts on so much damage, and like, I think its matchup into Tailwind is so good. And then when you look at the top 8 again, right, you got Tailwind here on Chopper. I don't think Paul was actually running Tailwind. I think he was a DD set. We'll look at this team shortly anyway, but yeah, he's a DD set there. But then you got Tailwind here. Tailwind, this was a Tailwind team, right? I'm pretty sure. I just want to check. Yeah, so yeah, this is JB Boyd's like support Roaring Moon. We've seen that before. It's like the Terra Poison, Breaking Swipe stuff, really cool. Tailwind, no Tailwind here, but then Tailwind here again. So I think that's like, what, 6? I think it's six Tailwinds in the top 8. So obviously, you know, Tailwind mirrors, quite common, and H-Arcanine and Arcanine is just one of the best, like, mons into opposing Tailwind, right? You can threaten the one-shot on the opposing Tornadus with your own Rock Slides, and then you can also just put a lot of pressure on things that Tornadus commonly likes to lead with. The only real issue I've found in my time running it is opposing Urshifu, and Landorus can be a bit annoying because it kind of forces you to Terra, but you don't mind that. If you're going to Terra and just like go one-shot their Tornadus anyway, it's like, so be it. You know, you'll one-shot their Tornadus, they can't one-shot yours. And then really you kind of just like chip down their, you know, their Lando. It's intimidated, you know, it takes about 40% chip. So, you know, you absolutely love to see that. But this team, like, it's fantastic, right? You've got these 4 really strong physical attackers. And the best part about that is you're pairing with the Chi power, right? And also this team's got like fantastic priority as well for, like, you know, matchups where say you're going up against Trick Room, or even, you know, if you're going up against opposing Tailwind, and maybe they've got things like Iron Bundle, right? You know, you've got the Sucker Punch, you've got the Grassy Glide, you've got the Extreme Speed, you've got the Aqua Jet. Also, by the way, I didn't touch on it. Terra normal banded E-Speeds. Kind of like a budget D-Knight, but it has Intimidate. But yeah, look, this team's sick. I believe this was also special attack boosting Fluttermane. So yeah, look, really, really cool team. As I said, it was really similar to mine. I'll kind of show off the variant I was running, and then I'll show off the spreads that I think he was running, or at least like as close to it as I could get. And again, in saying that, they're kind of just like, they're kind of my spreads right at the end of the day. So I guess, yeah, anyone interested, here's the sets I basically ran when testing out this team. I think it's pretty standard, you know, Sash, Adamant. I went with a pretty bulky on the physical and Rillaboom. This potentially could have been 116 attack. Not entirely sure, but I do think, you know, an Assault Vest going like really like a lot of SPDEF investment, I don't think it's necessarily that good. But yeah, this could be, you know, maybe drop the defense stat for some attack. Bandit Hisui and Arcanine, you know, relatively quick. I think it hits like what did I hit? It was like 140 or something like that. You know, let's actually just pull up let's look probably 136. Okay, yeah. So that kind of like maybe could be a bit faster, but I like having it a bit bulky. That's my Urshi spread, a little bulky, but still hits quite hard, quite fast. Outspeeds Adamant, you know, Landorus as well. Pretty physically bulky Tornadus. It's kind of what I run for my Tornaduses. And then this was just my special attack boosting set. If you wanted to run speed booster, just go timid to like 190 and then put the rest in special attack. But yeah, that's the team there. And I guess quickly to show off, this was the team I was actually running. As you can see, it is almost identical outside of him having a banded Arcanine where I've got my Chewy. So yeah, for me, it was fantastic to see Chopper just win with that team, because I'm like, hey, I'm doing something right. Yeah, I'm almost there. Also, I do apologize for not showing off my spreads here. But I do plan on taking this to events in the near future. And because of that, I don't want people to be able to scout me. So I do apologize, but it would be very similar to what I've thrown together for Chopper's team, just slight differences to, you know, fit my team slightly better. But anyway, that's enough with Chopper's team. Really cool team. But we have Paul Chewy here. Fantastic performance. I've been saying for a little while now that I think Amoonguss is really underrated. And obviously with the fall off here of the Ogre Pawns, Amoongus's stocks rise. It's, you know, coming back as one of the best redirection ones in the format. It's a fantastic Rocky Helmet user. Obviously with things like, you know, Iron Hands and Urshifu still being really, really good. It's fantastic into both of them. Can redirect all of their attacks. And then obviously, you know, the Rocky Helmet is just fantastic. Heatran, it gives you like fantastic matchups into a lot of Trick Room teams. Really, the Blood Moon Ursaluna is the only one it kind of struggles with. But even then, I'm pretty sure you can eat any one attack from him anyway. And Sugar Berry just helps out with the Earth powers. So it kind of means that you can sit in on a Blood Moon Ursaluna, let them Earth power you, fire off an attack, you know, you can protect, you know, stall out their Blood Moons, all that kind of stuff, right? It kind of takes some of the mind games out of it. Obviously also really good into the Landorus. Iron Hands, we all know what it does. It's like arguably the best fake out mon in the format right now. Some would say second best, but it's right there with Rillaboom. DD Moon, I think DD Moon paired up with Shroom and like an Intimidate mon and a fake out mon is fantastic. Also, I just think like Roaring Moon plus Amoonguss is just such good defensive synergy. Everything Amoonguss doesn't want to take, Roaring Moon can take pretty well, and vice versa, right? Amoonguss doesn't want to take on the fire attacks, Roaring Moon's okay with it. The only really thing they don't love is like ice moves. It's like the one thing they kind of hate. But then again, you've got things like, you know, Heatran, you've got things like Iron Hands. Also, you know, Protect plus, you know, Terra Spore is always an option. Specs Fluttermane, really, really good. I do think Specs Fluttermane is one of the best sets for it right now. It just puts on so much pressure. And, you know, teching in that Parasong, I do think is a really, really cool endgame, especially when you're going up against things in the endgame, like, for example, you know, maybe a Chien Pao or, you know, like, maybe there's like a Terrifier Iron Hands. King Gambit's another one where, like, King Gambit kind of wants to sucker punch you. If you can just like perish it and then like potentially switch out, stuff like that, it can make the end games much more difficult for your opponents to end. So I do think that's a really cool tech. And then finally, Landorus. We all know what Lando does. I personally love this team. Obviously, it doesn't have the best speed control, but it's a really good balanced team. You know, you've got your DD setup mon, you've got your fake out mon, you've got your defensive pivot, your Scarfer, you know, you've got your Mugus for sleep. Just a really, really well built team here by Paul Chua. And yeah, like if you're someone who doesn't like playing HO or like, you know, more like Tailwind, you know, Trick Room teams, Paul's team's like a fantastic one to pick up and try. Regav, again, another fantastic performance. This guy's absolutely killing it right now. Choice Scarf Shifu, I love it. Defensive Terra Poison, I also think is fantastic. Just because like the worst thing about this mon is you still get one shot by like Specs Fluttermanes, even if you Terra Water. So I do think having like you know, a Terra that resisted is really important because outside of Fluttermane, I don't really know what other special attackers are threatening one-shots on you. You know, Iron Bundle can, but again, if it's not super effective, then it can't really do it. And outside of that, like, you need something rogue, like, for example, the Regidrago. But yeah, really, really cool. I do really, really like the other Poison Terry here. Same set we're looking at before. I do think that the Helmet Tornadus is just becoming the go-to set. As I said, Ogerporn really feels like it's falling off, and because of that, I do think Rocky Helmet is just really, really good. But I do think this is a pretty standard set here. You don't have to run Protect, but I do think Protect is still a really, really good option. Regidrago, dude, this mon is super interesting. Yeah, it's like... on paper, I think this mon's so good, but I'm so scared to play this without something like Indeedee or, like, you know, I feel like you need Indeedee. Maybe you need something along the lines of, you know, Girafarig is obviously really good, but like Amoonguss, like some form of redirection I feel like is really needed with this mon. Because like the worst thing is like there's so much priority going around, right? You've got things like Fake Out, you've got, you know, Grassy Glide, you've got the Aqua Jets, you know, E-Speeds coming out of mons. Like you look at Regav's team here, he's literally got, you know, 3 priority moves himself. He's got E-Speed, he's got, you know, Grassy Glide, he's got the Aqua Jet, right? So yeah, I do feel like it is really scary to play them without it, but this mod puts on so much pressure. If your opponent does not have an answer to this, it could just be GG. Regidrago does so much damage. It's really, really insane. And yeah, I absolutely love seeing it on teams like this. The Terra Grass Rillaboom, this is something we've been seeing pick up quite a bit. You know, Adamant 252, Grassy Glides do a lot of damage, boys. Turns out it's really, really strong. Yeah. Hisui and Arcanine, again, this mod, it keeps winning. This is a, you know, a bulky Terra Water set. We have kind of seen like the 2 real sets for Hisui and Arcanine lately, mainly being like the banded sets where they're like either like maybe, you know, Terra Fairy with Terra Blast or, you know, Terra Normal E-Speed, that kind of stuff. But Regav obviously here has opted for like that Terra Water plus Will-O-Wisp. Just fantastic into the Urshifus, right? You know, you kind of force them to CC. If they CC, obviously it's -1. Sure, they can Surging Strike you, but you resist it, you burn them, you got the berry, you heal up. Yeah, just a really, really good set. And then finally, we got the Terra Dragon Golden Go. I think this mod's so slept on right now. I can't believe, like, is it just the 1 gold? No, I lied. Okay, there's 3 golds in the top 8. Definitely something I expect to see more. I think this mod's really good. Definitely something I'm personally looking at building around myself. Especially too when you see like a Metal Coat plus the nasty plot set here. Honestly, kind of surprised that they didn't opt for the leftovers, just because like lefties plus Rillaboom is so damn good, especially when you've got things like Intimidate pivoting and then, you know, so much pressure coming out of your other mons. But nonetheless, Golden Go, you know, with Metal Coat, Nasty Plot puts on a lot of pressure. Definitely one of my favorite teams here by Regav. I really enjoyed it. Jamie Boyd, though, he put on some, like, dude, this team's saucy, man. Look at this, yeah. It's like, if anyone hasn't seen before, I do think I've showcased one of Jamie Boyd's teams in the past using this, Roaring Moon in particular. This is like his... I think he goes like Adamant 4 attack, and then it's just like all bulk, right? I think, is it Adamant 4 attack? I feel like he gets the speed booster. Maybe it's like Jolly Max with just 4 attack, something along those lines. He's got like no attack investment on this guy. And it's basically just like max bulk, Terra Poison to eat what it needs to, and then it just like knocks items off at Breaking Swipe, spams. I do believe in the past this was partnered with Wheezing so that you could Breaking Swipe the what's it called? Defiant mons, like you know, things like, for example, King Gambit, like neutralizing gas, Breaking Swipe into burn, and like Gambit's game's done. So that was really, really cool. We also see him pull out the Ogerporn here. I actually have kind of touched on this one in the past. I do think SD Ogerporn is just better than Focus Energy. And the reason for that, like, I know a lot of people have said, like, oh, you know, like if you run like Focus Energy plus like Razor Claw, you like always crit. But I would just prefer like get +2 and then, you know, have like it's like a 50% chance to crit on my +2. Just feels a lot better. Critting on the Ivy Cudgel, obviously, because, you know, they go together pretty well. Yeah, because I think that would give you 2 crit, right? And 3 is guaranteed, something like that. But yeah, I'm pretty sure it's like a 50% crit rate. Defiant's obviously really good. SD is really good. Yeah, it just does a lot of damage. Stomping Tantrum's like definitely the best coverage move. And I do think having, you know, the speed boost from this guy is really, really cool. Chewy and Arcanine, kind of what we are touching on before. This one's the Terra Fairy variant. Really, really cool. I personally like Terra Fairy just because I don't think Head Smash is good. Every time I click Head Smash, it does, like, it misses. I'm not gonna lie, it just misses. 80% my ass. Urshifu here with the Splash Plate. This is the Chad way to play Urshifu. Definitely better than Mystic Water, even though they're the exact same. Obviously has opted to drop the Aqua Jet here, though, for Substitute. Really, really interesting. I would have assumed that he would have dropped the Close Combat for the sub, but obviously, you know, Jamie Boyd is a madman, and Fighting Stab is never bad, let's be honest, especially when you're fighting things like Water Ogerpon. This set here, though, dude, this Thundurus, this is wild. Like, I have dabbled in Thundurus myself, right? I think this Mon on Rain has got so much potential. I just couldn't make it work, right? I thought Terra Flying was the source here, because that way, like, with Terra Flying, you're only really weak to, like, what? It's Rock and Ice. God, why couldn't I think of that off the top of my head? But yeah, Rock and Ice. And, you know, just Terra Blast from a Mon that has, like, 145 base special attack. It's pretty nutty, you know? Grass Knot's a really good move, especially, you know, for things like, you know, the Ursalunas, like AV plus Grass Knot just, like, picks up a lot of the Blood Moons. Actually, I don't think it picks up, but it puts on a lot of pressure. Wildbot Storm, obviously, is really, really good. T-Bolt is just consistent. It's good. And then finally, you know, Terra Steel Gold. I don't think I touched on it with Regav's team, but I believe he was also Terra Steel. Terra Steel is just so good on Golden Go, dude. It puts on, like, oh, he was Terra Dragon. Sorry, he was Terra Dragon. My bad. But yeah, Terra Steel, it just does so much damage. This team is like, dude, Jetty Boy's so saucy, man. Like, I'm so glad he got top 4 with this. Like, AV Thundy, dude, like, his, like, full support Roaring Moon. He's got, like, Teal Mask Ogerpon. Dude, this is such a sick team. I love when I see Jamie Boy too good, man. He cooks up some serious sauce, guys. And then this team here, look, this is what I would call a, like, somewhat standard team, I guess. This is kind of like a, well, actually, I was going to say it's like a hybrid Trick Room team, but it's actually not. The Sinister here is actually Heatproof Terra Steel in the rain, which I do think is really cool. I like there's no rain. What the hell? Dude, this guy, he cooked up some stuff. Bobby, man, this is nice. Anyway, look, we all know what Scarf Shifu does. It's the standard set. Standard Arcanine, touched on it before. This is just the Fairy one. Fairy's a fantastic defensive typing. Terra Blast is also really, really good into a lot of Mons. Tornado's really interesting. I have personally tested Sharp Beak in the past. I loved Sharp Beak when I played this Mon. It really gave Bleakman Storm that, like, extra kick it needed. But no Rain Dance on this team, I thought, is actually wild, especially like when you've got, you know, you've got the Shifu, and then you've got, like, these two Mons down here, and Chiyu and Sinister, that really, really enjoy, you know, being in the rain, because they don't have to worry so much about their fire weaknesses. Obviously, Heatproof kind of also helps with that. But this Iron Hands, this is a really cool set. Me and the homie Lukey were literally talking about hands recently, because I was saying, like, if you look at the metagame, like, yeah, AV is nice into Flutter Mane, but, like, unless you're, like, Terra Fire, you're, like, not winning that matchup anyway. And so we were, like, looking at other options, like things like Boost Energy and Clear Amulet. So to see Bobby do really good with Clear Amulet is, like, really, really nice, because, again, I was looking at this, I'm like, hey, I don't think AV is the tech. It's similar to, like, Rillaboom. Like, I don't think AV is that good. Like, sure, it allows you to, you know, take on things a little better, especially, like, Trick Room teams with Size Spam. But really, if you're not going up against a Trick Room team, like, the Mons hitting you on the special side are, like, Flutter Mane, Chiyu, which, you know, both get kind of bagged up by Terra Fire, and then, like, you know, maybe the occasional Iron Bundle, maybe Tornadoes, who's not hitting you that hard anyway. So it is really cool to see some, like, Iron Hands is opting for other items here, and Ice Punch obviously is fantastic into the Landoruses. Terra Poison is really, really interesting. Obviously, it keeps the ground weakness, which is, like, my personal biggest issue with it. But obviously, you know, I'm assuming this would be very quick. I don't think, even with a Jolly Nature, let me pull up this. Let's just pull this up. I don't even think with a Jolly Nature you can outspeed Landorus, right, if they're Scarf. Iron Hands. Oh my god. I typed too fast for my own good. Do you outspeed Lando? What's that? 120, 224? I mean, that would actually outspeed Scarf Lando, right? Oh, let's just go VGC. VGC damage calc. Sorry, I'm not going to edit this out. I don't actually have time tonight. You boys got basketball in literally under an hour. Let's just go Iron Hands. Let's just go blank set versus a Landorus Therian. Toy Scarf Lando hits. Oh yeah, so if I wait, what if I'm just Adam at 252 in Tailwind? Nah, definitely not, right? Yeah, dude, yeah, definitely not. But what if I'm Jolly? Boys, that's the sauce. That's the sauce. What if they're like, what if I am Jolly though myself? I think I like to run, is it like, yeah, that. Oh, that's rough. So this is the set I've been running recently. That kind of sucks, not gonna lie. But the fact that it gets close, I'm sure with like Clear Amulet, Ice Punch, it's KOing, right? Like, do we even need the item Clear Amulet? Yeah, damn, okay, that's... How is that? Oh, wait, I've got no attack investment. Damn. I'm like sitting there like, how the hell is this like 4x attack from this beast barely killing? That's why. That's why it's barely killing. Yeah. With Clear Amulet, like, you're always KOing that. I don't care. No one's ever running a Lando that bulky with Scarf. But yeah, really cool set there, though. I do really, really enjoy that by Bobby's team. Sinister, another really interesting mon. I think like the plot set on like teams like this is really good because Sinister is another mon where it's like base speed's actually like really good. Or not really, really good. But like it's decent, right? If you look at this, it hits 90. It doesn't have to invest that much to hit that like 107. And then you can kind of just like do whatever, right? Because you're like playing around plot, you can go like 68 if you want. Maybe bump it up to like that there, and then kind of just like dump into bulk. Maybe you want like a little bit into the Spadef or whatever. But this one with like plot can like start just doing sick damage. Like look at this stat at +2, dude, and then you're like healing with Matcha Gotcha. Like you're also like, I do that every time. Matcha Gotcha. I always forget the T. Then you've got like Heat Proof here, like getting rid of your you know, your weakness to fire. You go Terra Steel, which means like all of a sudden, like what are you losing to, right? You're losing to fighting moves, ground moves, and is that it? Fighting ground? I can't think of anything else that beats it. Which Sinister's obviously fine against. You're a ghost type, so they're not going to click CCs into you, and you're a ground type, so you you're grass type, so you pretty easily those ground attacks. So yeah, really, really cool here. The Heat Proof plus Terra Steel. Matcha Gotcha is a busted ability. Sorry, a busted move. Shadow Ball is also really, really nasty too. And I do really enjoy this set. I think this set on Trick Room is sick. And it actually makes me wonder, like the guy who beat me at the local recently when I finished second was actually running Sinister, I believe a really, really similar set on a hybrid. I thought a hybrid Trick Room team because he had Giraffe on the team and Sinister and Iron Hands. And then he had things like Hisui and Arcanine with Banded. That was kind of slow. So it does make me wonder if he had something like this. I might have to talk to him next time I see him at a local. But yeah, really, really cool set nonetheless. And then pretty standard, you know, set here for the Weasel. I really enjoy this, by the way. Lash Out over Sacred Sword. I don't know why. I feel like Sacred Sword's the biggest bait. I know it's good into things like Dondozo, but Dondozos these days anyway, boys, they're just going for Terra Dragon anyway. So just ice spinning the shit out of them. That's all I'm saying. It's really, really good. Do kind of want to speed this up a bit because I've been talking about these teams for way too long. Enzo, they're here. Really, really cool hybrid Trick Room team. Obviously, you know, he's got the Side Spam variant here with Blood Moon Ursaluna. And then he's got the SD Brick Break Urshifu, which is kind of nutty. But yeah, look, really standard and DD set here with the Terra Fire, which I did think was kind of interesting. But I don't hate it. You know, I think this one can like be kind of free into like Flutterfish, which honestly probably still is even with like Terra Fire, because even if you redirect it, you're still probably getting hit with like a Snarl or at least a Dark Pulse, which is not pretty. This Urshifu, I mean, we said it before, dude, SD, Brick Break, no Aqua Jet is what it is. I guess no Jet with like Indeedee fine though, especially too because you can like kind of use the Indeedee as like just like a support and allow the Urshi to sweep through. Blood Moon Ursaluna, relatively standard set here with the Throat Spray. Tornadoes opting for Grass Knot, really, really interesting. I'd be curious as to what that is meant to hit in particular. Terra Flying is also really cool for a bit of damage with the Bleakwind Storm. Obviously, Grass Knot hits a lot of things. Hits the Urshis, hits the, you know, the Ursalunas. I wonder if that like one-shots opposing Blood Moon Ursaluna. That'd be really interesting to know. Standard Armarouge here. I say standard actually. Terra Psychic. He's out here to pick up some KOs with that expanding force. And then what I would assume is a special attack boosting Flutter Mane that is probably very, very bulky on a team like this. I would assume this is one of those like 170 speed flutters with just like max bulk and then like a modest nature to just pick up a little bit of extra damage. But yeah, I mean, look, again, seeing like these kind of hybrid Trick Room teams doing good is really interesting. And then finally, you know, Andrew here with his hard Trick Room team. Dusclops, as I said, I showed off a team very, very similar to this a couple weeks ago. My variant was running the weakness policy Ursaluna, but you know, I'll give you guys a bit of a spoiler. I don't think weakness policy Ursaluna is the source. I do think that Nightshade is just better on Dusclops, and not needing to set up your Blood Moon Ursaluna obviously feels a lot better. There was one time I think I self-crit a Brick Break as they swapped in their Chen Power, and I did way too much damage to my own Blood Moon Ursaluna. That was with 0 attack Dusclops. So I do think that Nightshade is also more consistent. And Pain Split, you know, Willow, just they're great, dude. Cornerstone Ogerpon here though, really, really cool. I would assume this is a very bulky supportive set. I think, you know, the bulky Ogerpons can actually do really well under Trick Room as well. Chewy, this one is like really interesting, right? Because it functions both inside and outside of Trick Room. And I know what you're thinking, like a mon with 167 speed, it's not good inside Trick Room. It's not good inside Trick Room because of its, you know, stats. It's good inside Trick Room because this ability right here, next to this move right here off a Terra normal Blood Moon Ursaluna with a Life Orb, it kills a lot of things. Yeah, really, really good. Obviously, Iron Hands is like a fantastic partner with Dusclops. I also really like this version of it too, because again, if you guys saw the video when I tested a very similar team to this, I basically just like kept saying, I just didn't like having to Volt Switch my Iron Hands out. It felt weird. It felt like I've got this really strong Mon, and it's kind of being used to set up my Blood Moon Ursaluna. And the Blood Moon Ursaluna wasn't always like the win con, right? So I do think having Wild Charge and saying like, hey, I'm here to just pump out damage myself in Trick Room. If you get the Blood Moon Ursaluna in, you get it in. On a team like this though, Landorus really, really good. It's very standard for these teams, gives you a ground immunity. Obviously, gives you a good Intimidator and a good Scarfmon. And then finally, Blood Moon Ursaluna, that's the partnering crime with Dusclops. I think these two are definitely probably the most scary Trick Room team right now. I feel like a lot of teams either have answers to Side Spam or they don't. You have Chewy or you have, you know, Rillaboom, and Side Spam becomes a lot easier. It doesn't really matter what you have with Dusclops. Dusclops plus Redirection, I've said it to a few people, is one of the scariest things to play into without a doubt. Like, if you go up against this, because, like, the only real way to basically stop a Dusclops plus a Redirection is Trick Room Imprison, and that doesn't always feel good, right? Like, there's two, like, really, it's Indeedee and it's, like, Giraffe. Giraffe is probably the better one in my opinion. I personally really like Indeedee, but it feels very one-dimensional. Like, if you go, like, Follow Me, Trick Room, Imprison, you get, like, one offensive move, either Psychic or Dazzling Gleam. Both are decent, but it just feels, like, super one-dimensional, and it feels like it only ever comes into, like Power Knight or like Dusclops Trick Room, which don't get me wrong, it's good for that. But I don't really like having a fifth slot where it's super specific for one matchup. Because I do feel like it kind of hurts your other matchups not having something a bit better in that slot. So yeah, I do think that combo is like really, really good. And then yeah, like Fake Out, you've got the Blood Moon Ursaluna, you've got these two mons here that can both function outside of Trick Room. Even like Ogerpon can function outside of Trick Room, and like Iron Hands also is no slouch outside of Trick Room. It's so bulky, it's getting off its attacks. But yeah, like Andrew here, like really, really cool team. I personally really love it. And then finally, my favorite team of the day. And I think I said it at the start, but yeah, guys, if you're interested, I'm going to be using this team probably in the next 2 days. I'll be playing it on card as well because the homie Winter Knight has hooked us up with a rental. I don't know if he got the exact sets from Tang or if they were like released publicly. I haven't seen it. I've actually been watching like Dota all day. The TI Grand Finals were on today for anyone who I guess doesn't watch Dota. So that's what I spent most of my day doing. So I unfortunately did not get to watch as much of Toronto as I would have liked. But yeah, the Winter Knight, the homie, has definitely, you know, he's helped us out a lot. He's provided me with a rental. So hopefully either tomorrow night or the night after, depending how busy I am, I'll be using this team. But Salamence, for those who don't know, is arguably my favorite Pokemon of all time. It's basically tied like Salamence and Sceptile. And right now, Chewy and Roaring Moon are both like kind of like top tier, alongside those guys with Dragonfall. That's like my 5 favorite Pokemon. So a little bit of lore there for you guys. But I absolutely love Salamence. As I said, like I've wanted to use this guy all year. I just don't have the balls to like be creative like these guys do. Like I look at Salamence and I sit there and I'm like, dude, I think Dragonite's typing so good. Salamence has the exact same typing. I just can't justify it and I don't know why. But Terraflying Hurricanes in the rain, really, really good. I love that. Obviously, Iron Hands has been like one of the best supports for rain the entire year. I probably should have mentioned this is a rain team built around Pelipper, which by the way, kind of cringe. Really, really, really wish that this guy was a Politoed, but can't have nice things. We got, you know, Agency, Golden Joe here, Nasty Plot, Double Stab, Terror Dragon. I think this guy's good. You know, I said it earlier. I think this is the best set you can run on Gold. The only thing I would say is, where the heck is the Rillaboom on this team? Like, don't get me wrong, I love the Shroom here. I think Shroom's really underrated. I've been saying it for weeks now, but I feel like on a rain team, maybe this should have just been Rillaboom because it pairs super well with this. Like, it's still good alongside a lot of these guys. I don't know. Like, obviously, I'm missing something. I still think, you know, in rain in particular, Iron Hands is still really good. But I just love Gold plus Rillaboom. I'm not gonna lie. The guy Iron Bundle, fantastic seeing him here. Being the secondary Watermon is actually kind of interesting. I would have expected that to be something along the lines of maybe like a Scarf Shifu, but obviously, you know, you got the Ments here, so you can't really just force it into being Scarf. But I love this guy. I think it's super good into a lot of the metagame. Its speed booster set is like so underrated because like what a lot of people don't realize is a lot of people, right, aren't going for things like Scarf Urshi anymore, right? They're all going like, what was it? Mystic Plate? Mystic Water, Splash Plate, that kind of stuff, yeah. This mon's faster than them. Like these are Husumi and Arcanines, for example. If they aren't going Jolly Max Speed, if these Urshifus are going Adamant, right? A lot of these really popular mons, if they aren't going for, you know, Defensive Terror or like Max Speed, Iron Bundle just outspeeds them even if they have Tailwind up. Like Iron Bundle hits 309 speed. It's so freaking fast. It's so good into a lot of the metagame. This one's like, honestly, it's insane. I love this one. I really want to test it out, but like this move here really scares me from testing. I'm not going to lie. Shroom, we kind of know what Shroom does. In the rain, this guy's sick. I would personally run Terra Steel in the rain, but maybe just like it doesn't want to have a bad matchup into the Urshifus if it's forced to Terra. And then finally, Pelipper, Sash, Terra Flying, Weather Ball, Hurricane. This one actually does hit pretty hard in rain, I'm not going to lie. But I do think Wide Guard is definitely one of the main things that makes this guy good. Especially if you're going up against like Fluttermanes, for example, that lock themselves into Dazzling Gleam. It's also really, really good as well just for, going up against just the spread in general. Right? You've got things like Golden Go, you've got things like Bleak Wind Storm. There's just so much spread in the metagame right now that I do think having the Wide Guard is really, really cool. The only thing I'll quickly touch on that I kind of didn't say when I was looking at Salamence is Pelipper does not have Tailwind on this team. The only Tailwind is the Scarf Salamence, which is really, really interesting. But obviously, Pelipper just puts on a lot of damage, man. Like, Weather Ball and Hurricane is sick. And as much as I would love to say this should have been Politoed because it doesn't have Tailwind, I can see why they've opted for the Wide Guard. And look, when you've got 3 players who built this team together, they all got top 32 at a 500 plus player regional. It's sick. I showed it before. You got Tang, you got Gavin, and then you've got Tang Shilang. So yeah, the team did really, really good. It's a sick team. I'm going to be using it. Stick around if you guys are interested. Make sure you subscribe, hit the noti bell. I don't know what the kids say. And then look, boys, we still have a lot of other cool teams, but unfortunately, as I said, I got to leave in like 20 minutes to go play basketball. So yeah, I'm going to kind of just cut it off there. I kind of went a bit more in depth than I thought I would with these teams, but I was just so excited. I think a lot of these top teams here were awesome. Like, it's so different to what we'd seen at the past 3 regionals that for me, I was like, it really gives me like the creative juices, yeah, because I'm like, hey, Salamence is good. There's 2 Roaring Moons in the top 4. Like, maybe I don't have to just like stick to this idea I had in my mind. But at the same time, the idea I had in my mind was literally almost Choppercross's team, a team very similar to Regav's. Like, I'm looking at these teams and I'm like, oh, they're actually like kind of similar to what I had. So maybe it is still good. I don't know. But anyway, guys, I'm going to wrap that up. I'll drop those pastes down below. If you could, obviously, like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff. It means the world to me. But yeah, catch you guys in the next one. Peace.